Welcome to another episode of the Libertarian Uncensored podcast. I'm Jim Mitchell, and tonight we're looking at the post from Libertarian Uncensored subreddit from May 9th, 2023. So first we have, they always think they're going to be exception by Muv Huggin. It's the cross post to from the Leopards Ate My Face subreddit, and it's about a transgender person who says, I'm trying to be accepted. She's trying to be accepted by the conservatives, but she can't because that's like some of them won't accept her. That they still think she's a man. So my thoughts on the issue is, I think you see a lot of with us or against us mentality these days, and I think that's important to remember. I feel like it's a little worse on the left currently than the right from my perspective, but it's pretty bad on the right too. You're not really allowed to question the party narrative at all, and I think that's important. So I think you should be able to say whatever you want, and people might not want to associate you over it, but I think we need to be more accepting as a whole because right now I think we have a very unaccepting culture because people can't say get like cut off from people if they disagree at all. It seems like, and that's increasingly what it feels like to me. It's just like you can't say anything without offending someone. It seems. So I think you just see people need to be more accepting of others, and I think that's important because people need to need to talk. Need to get out of their echo chambers and really to communicate with those who they disagree with. I think, and that's important, in my opinion. Next, we have Ed Sheeran once again demonstrates how modern copyright is destroying rather than helping musicians from TechDirt.com by her own. And I would agree with that. Modern copyright, I think, I'm personally pretty anti-copyright. I think if you produce something, I do think you are entitled to the economic that cost that goes with that. But I think copyright, especially with how long it goes and how strictly it's enforced, I think that kind of goes against that notion. I think if you wanna, I think you can make a libertarian argument for both sides of the issue, but I definitely think, we should definitely have shorter copyright terms and less stringent copyright laws. That's my opinion on the issue. Next, we have Who Protects the Worker from YouTube by Ruin My Circle Jerk. And let's see. It's a Milton Friedman video. He's Who Protects the Worker. I like Milton Friedman. He's cool. I think he's one of the few people every libertarian likes. Yeah. Workers are protected by employers, not by their own employees. He's the man who has only one possible employer. So yeah, I think, the thing is, every worker is gonna. I think work can be exploitative. I think, but the thing is, if you don't want to be, if the thing is, everyone has to work to an extent because no one, the food just doesn't fall from the sky, as I said earlier. I said in one of the last podcasts. So I think the thing is, if you want to control your own labor, I think you should be able to. That's why I'm a big supporter of small business. And I think if you want to contract your labor out, you should be able to. I think you should do whatever you want with your own labor. That's my big thing. That's what I think. And I think that's important. Let's see. Next we have, it has been non-stop with this crap this week from an X post from r/say. I posted that. It's a tweet about how, we're going to ban assault weapons. We need to declare a national emergency over it. And I think, my thing is, declaring a national emergency is how you give the state more power, even if it's somewhat justified, like for COVID. Don't expect government to use its power for the good of the people. As the Libertarian Party, I think, tweeted today, an F.A. Hayek quote, "Emergencies have always been the pretext on which the safeguards of individual liberty have been eroded." And I think that's important to remember. That's why I don't think the government should be responsible for stopping climate change, because I think they'll only just make climate change worse and give themselves more power in the process. That's my faults on the issue. Next, we have translation. The Supreme Court is the only American institution we don't have control over, by the red-haired libertarian on Twitter. And it's a response to Hillary Clinton tweet. The Supreme Court shouldn't be the only branch of the U.S. government over an unenforceable code of ethics. And let's see what we have here. Ninja commented, it's crazy that the U.S. Supreme Court has no fair, transparent ethics process. I said none of the U.S. government really has a transparent ethics process, but they're only after the Supreme Court currently because, that's they have some voices that might go against the narrative there. I think it's interesting that they're really going against the two Bush family appointed justices in Thomas and Alito, not really into the Trump justices. Really goes to show you that they're all on the same side because the Bush family, they're more on the side. They mark themselves more on the side of the Democrats than the Trump side does, and that's important to remember. Uniparty does not over control. Does have control over. I would say I think this is theater more than anything else. Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah. So next we have, in the aftermath of multiple disastrously failed wars, an economic calamity had massive populist movements opposing the banking cartel. Every powerful institution in America decided that we needed to have a national conversation about 606. Nothing to see here. That's a tweet from Dave Smith, and I posted that. I said, remember, the culture war is a distraction from the real issues like foreign intervention and a broken finance system, and that's important to remember. Yeah. Then we have Texas moves to create gold-backed digital currency from Kitco.com by Harumph. I think that's a good idea. I think, I think I like the gold part, not as big on the digital part, but I hope it goes well. I hope it doesn't become like the CBDC or something. But you never can trust the government, no matter how libertarian it may seem to be. So that's important to remember. The more publicized the shooting is, the more likely it is to be a psyop. I tweeted that, and I think I'd agree with that. The thing is that I would say that's generally true for anything the media decides to push. The media really has an agenda, and I think it's important for when they try and push an agenda. Some shootings they really try and push an agenda. That's why they don't really look at some shootings they just kind of ignore, and some they really try and push an agenda. That's important to remember as to why. Next, we have soldier to be sentenced for killing Black Lives Matter protester in Texas from WFA.com by Harumph. And yeah, I think I think if they were peacefully protesting, I think they probably should be sentenced for that. But I haven't seen the video, so I'm probably not really the one to judge here. But yeah, I guess I'd say there's 3 cents for that. Yeah. Next, we have nice meme from LP Missouri, and it's a tweet of a picture of the Family Guy caveman from Family Guy, and it says the first liberals, and one of them says we really need to ban fire before someone gets hurt. And that's what I'd agree with that. I said prohibition doesn't work, which is why I personally don't support it for drugs, guns, abortions, etc. That's the thing. We shouldn't be regulating fireplaces. If you want your house done with a fireplace, you should be able to. And that's important to remember. We shouldn't be regulating stuff because even if it's dangerous like guns or fire, that's just justifying good authoritarianism. And it's nothing I can stand more than people who justify authoritarianism when it's good authoritarianism. Next, we have Canada extends copyright protection another 20 years to meet new trade obligation from theglobalmail.com by Frosty Slawman. And I personally wouldn't support this. I said I'm not really too big on the copyright laws, but yeah, I think if they want to enforce some copyright laws, that's what I usually say. It doesn't matter what the laws are; it matters that they're enforced. I guess they'll have the ability to justify that and enforce that. So that's why I think if they want to enforce that, I guess they have the ability to. But I personally would say if you don't think this law is just, you should do your best to nullify it. Next, we have, if you live on Reddit, Twitter/Reddit, you might as well think we in the legal left lived in Afghanistan. It's put in a X post from a Political Compass memes. And I said, let's see, yeah, it's a Reddit comment on a political. It says, it's tweet. Sorry, in America, there's a mass shooting literally every day. No more is mass death, disability from COVID. White people are proudly lynching black people in public. State is openly genociding trans people. You guys still get flack for not wanting to leave the house. That's if you live on right, it's Afghanistan outside, but it's pretty normal outside, The thing is, it's sometimes bad things happen, like mass shootings, in a nation of 350 million people. Not everyone's going to be a good boy every day. COVID's pretty much over, I would say. White people, it's not 1927 anymore when it comes to that third statement. And yeah, I don't think you should just be labeling everything as genocide because like it's like when you label everyone you disagree with as Nazi or fascist. It just kind of lessens the value of the word, and no one will believe you anymore. I don't think people should be misgendering or dead naming people, but I don't think genocide would be a good word for that because I think that's being an asshole. But I don't think you should just be labeling assholes guilty of genocide just for being assholes. So the thing is, yeah, I do think you got a better case with some of the anti-trans bills, but even then, that's just kind of like restricting like what kids can read in school, and if it's maybe a little too pornographic, and if all the surgeries from Myers, I think could be another thing that they might regret later. Next, we have adult content industry sues Utah over porn law from TechDirt.com by Humph. And I think I personally think you should be. I think I agree with the adult content industry there. I don't think you should be making laws to regulate porn. I don't think kids should be looking at porn, but if it should be the parents' guardian or the caretaker's job to stop them to get them off of it, and not the job of the state. Then we have Me IRL. It's from a link to a tweet from Motherfucking Inc. Well, not his tweet, not their tweet, but another tweet. Looks like they blurred out the username. It's actually across both from the r/me/RL subreddit. It says my political views are that I want people to be alive and have what they need. Apparently, that's controversial. The thing is, I agree people should have that, but the thing is, some people do need to can't just freeload all the time. And that's important to remember. You're entitled to the rights of whatever your natural rights, but you're not entitled to the labor of others, and that's what I think this post kind of suggests. That's it. We're criminalizing toe sucking now. Come on, people, from WSPTV.com by Ninja Lover, and that's linked to the story. Hotel manager arrested for waking up guests by sucking on his toes. I think, if that's not consensual, I would agree that probably should be criminalized. Yeah. But if it's consensual, I think, it probably should have. It should be okay. Yeah. Next, we have America by another tweet linked by Motherfucking Inc. And this is it's a tweet from a Juicebox Jetpack on Twitter, David F. Conservatives and press are the same complaint. We work hard. Why should someone lazy asshole get all my money? We're just figuring who the asshole is, the family on food since trying to get by, or the dude paying cash for a third mega yacht. The thing is, yeah, I kind of agree with that, I guess. The thing is, everyone wants to, that's the thing. Everyone wants kickbacks, but, everyone, that's why I don't think the government should be giving people money, unless they really, need it. So that's my thoughts on the issue. Yeah. Next we have in verdict, jury says Trump sexually abused E. Jean Carroll. Live updates from Washington Post by Ninja Lover. And one comment says crazy times we live in that former possibly future president is a rapist. I think they're probably none of the presidents are morally upstanding. I said this was downvoted compared to the 15 offices everyone got. Not too crazy. Remember Monica Lewinsky, Trump isn't as different as they tried to make him, so that's important to remember. They always try and really demonize Trump, but none of the presidents I would say are too good. But people, I would say it's not a job a good person can really get, I would say. Then we have 121, the guy who writes left-wing op-eds by Freedom Tunes. That's a good one. So how he's blind, so yeah, I think that's funny. Poor guy probably has replaced by an AI soon. That's what I wrote. That's the thing. You just have these idpol AIs. They seem to be all these AIs seem to be all idpol. to say, oh, you can't be racist against white people, stuff like that, you know. The FBI released a PSA and training guide for how to survive a mass shooting by Flimsy L5563. It's 5 minutes. I don't know if I want to feel that. You know, the FBI, they're always trying to push an agenda. You know, that's why they're an alphabet agency. So yeah, you know, mass shootings can be dangerous, but you know, they're not as common as they might seem from social media, I would say. But you know, the thing is, yeah, I would just if there is a mass shooting, just run as far as you can. So that's important to remember. Yeah. And we have U.S. ethics watchdog calls him Clarence Thomas to resign over undisclosed gifts from TheGuardian.com by Ninja Lover. And yeah, I personally don't think Clarence Thomas is too good, but you know they're all kind of scum as we talked about. I think Sony Sotomayor, one of the last podcasts, how she was receiving money from a book publisher and then recused herself from the case. So yeah, I don't think they're all too good, you know. Next, we have Dianne Feinstein returning to Senate after nearly 3 months absence from NBCDFW.com by her umph. And yeah, I think she should be out of there by now. I think they all should be out of there right now, but Dianne Feinstein's really not too on the nose, it seems, you know. Yeah. Then we have Flaming Lips Fight Test by your state officer, and they said, posting this song because it is a theme I'm sure many of us can relate to, losing parts of our lives due to fence sitting. There is value speaking the truth and seeing all sides, but at some point you just have to pick a side and actually advocate for something. Living on the sidelines comes at a cost. I'd agree with that, but I personally do see the value in living on the sidelines, kind of criticizing all sides, and that's important because you know, whatever everyone's trying to sell you something, that's important to remember. So it's important to criticize everyone, I think, because everyone is trying to sell you something, and that's important to remember. Where Thomas Massey says National E-Verify will be bad for American workers. He's right from Reason.com. And I agree with that. You know, the thing is, it pretty much gives the government more power. Anything that gives the government more power, no matter how justified it is not going to be good in the long term. You know, like maybe like some extremely basic things like banning murder. You know, that's probably and enforcing a ban on murder. That's probably a bit more justified. But most things, you know, giving the government more power isn't the answer. So let's see. Anti-grooming Texas Republican resigns after applying team with alcohol and allegedly raping her. They married anti-grooming players. They originally had seen so much wrong with folks that straight community found she couldn't consent, not a trans person or drag queen. From LGBTQNation.com by Chi-Town20. And yeah, you know, that's the thing. There's tons of bad faith actors on both sides, you know, so it doesn't seem like a nice guy. Or at least, definitely a little too horny there, I would say. Tucker flips Fox News the middle finger and takes his show to Twitter and he add Elon Musk right on Megyn Kelly. And then, you know, that's the big story today. One of the big stories today. Uh, I had some problems with Tucker, but the fact that Fox News kicks him off means he's probably closer to my side than any of the FM, which that Fox News is a part of, remember. And so, yeah, I think I do have some problems with he is kind of collectivist. I would say he's almost a socialist to some extent. But, yeah, I think Tucker, he is going to do quite well for himself regardless of what a lot of the haters would say. So, good for him, I would say. You know, just if people like you, they should be able to like you, you know, and that's why I don't think we should be justifying censorship. You know, that's why I like Tucker's thing. It was about free speech and you should have the ability to speak what's on your mind. And that's important. I think we're increasingly losing out. I agree with Tucker on that point. Next, we have the funniest libertarian moment ever by your state officer, and it's Austin Pearson saying at the LP convention 2016, "Oh, you shouldn't be selling heroin to 5-year-olds." I said, I agree with Pearson here. I do think you should limit stuff that might be dangerous to kids, but big reason I'm critical of all the gender surgeries and hormones. With that being said, I do think you can make a libertarian argument for both sides of the issue, you know. If I think, you know, if you want to sell heroin to kids and you have the force to back it up, I think you could make an argument that that should be legal if you do have the force on your side. But I personally wouldn't justify that or any of the selling stuff to kids, all this medical stuff to kids. Then we have Polo, do you believe we live in particularly interesting times by myself, JFB763, and I said, I don't think the times we live in are particularly interesting. I just think social media makes it feel that way. Leaders of the past, such as Lincoln, they had problems too. They were authoritarian, but we don't really remember that in hindsight. So it's 1-1 currently, and I think that's about it. So let's see, is that all? And yeah, looks about it. So I'll wrap it up here, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.